Voter ID laws are racist. Here's why.
Strap in TikTok, you're about to see some real white savior complex.
25% of black Americans don't have a photo ID, compared to the 8% of white Americans who don't have a photo ID.
That's a straight up lie. The survey he's referring to is from the Brennan Center. It does not ask if you have a photo ID. It asks if you have a current, unexpired photo ID. Why is this important? Because Georgia, for example, which has just passed racist voting ID laws, you can vote with an expired driver's license. But the question isn't even of which race has more ID. The question is of whether it's disproportionately harder for black people to get an ID. And the very Brennan Center survey that he referenced tells you there is no difference between race when it comes to proof of citizenship. So if you have proof of citizenship, guess what? You can get an ID. But let's see why this genius thinks it's harder for black people to get an ID.
The process for obtaining a photo ID takes time and money, around $75 to $175, which isn't a lot of money for many families, but for some, it's going to be enough to prevent them from getting an ID.
Georgia, for example, with the racist voting ID laws, you can get a voter ID for $0. This guy do even an ounce of research before parroting DNC's talking points?
They have the added effect of adding a stumbling block in front of black America, disproportionately lowering their voter turnout rate because they overwhelmingly vote Democrat.
Paper published by National Bureau of Economic Research looked at 10 years of voting. They found that voter ID laws did not reduce turnout for any age, race, gender, or party affiliation.